Hi friends, my name is Raghuram. I have cleared RBI Grade B 2018. To know my strategy, please watch this video.
Hi friends, welcome to EduTap. So welcome to the interview with Topper series of RBI Grade B. So friends, RBI Grade B 2018 results are out and today we have with us one of the toppers, and let me tell you, it is Mr. Raghuram who is with us. And one important information is that he is All India ranked number 8. So before I introduce him to you, let me just first congratulate Mr. Raghuram behalf of the entire team of EduTap. So congratulations Raghuram, and thank you for taking time out and coming out here. Okay, so friends, let me just tell you a brief introduction about him and then we will move on and listen to his journey, what it has been all about. So first of all, he is a BTech in mechanical engineering and he is a 2017 pass out. So let me tell you that he wanted to be a fighter pilot, but because of some medical issues, he wasn't able to fulfill that dream of his. But then he took a different course and he started to prepare for civil services examination. He got placed in Tata Motors after he graduated from NIT Warangal, but he did not choose to take the placement and he decided to pursue his preparation for civil service examination. And let me just tell you that this is the first attempt that Mr. Raghuram has given for RBI Grade B, and in the course of his preparation, the first attempt that he gave was in the year 2018, okay, in the month of June. And then he realized that he did not perform that well in the preliminary examination of UPSC, and then as his brothers and friends suggested, he chose to give RBI Grade B examination, and now you can see the result that he has cleared it with flying colors and he's sitting with us here. So that is something very commendable. So friends, before we move forward, talk to him, get to know what he has put in. So let me just tell you his marks first so that we are very clear. So first of all, the phase 1 marks, right? As we know, there are 4 sections. So the general awareness marks, it is 52.25 out of 80. Reasoning, 29.5 out of 60. English 25.25 out of 30, and quantitative aptitude, it is 10 out of 30, and he has a total score of 117 out of 200. That's way beyond, and his the cutoff for his category, that is the OBC category, is 95.75 out of 200. So he's way beyond the cutoff. And let me just tell you his phase 2 marks as well. So in ESI, he scored 68.5 out of 100. In FM, that is Finance and Management, he scored 90 out of 100. That's commendable. We will come to that. How did he get that? English, 70 out of 100. So his total mark is 228.5 out of 30. So out of 300, sorry. And then interview marks, he scored 36 out of 50. So his total summed up to 264.5 out of a total of 350. So let's just start the conversation. We'll come back to the marks again as well. So first of all, Raghuram, as I began by congratulating you, so let me just let you just tell me about your journey. Like, how did you think about RBI Grade B? Because you were preparing for civil services.
Yes. After 2018 UPSC prelims, I know that I performed not that well. So but I'm a bit skeptical about the result. So I thought of giving other exams. And after the results are out on July 14th, I thought of giving RBI. So there was barely a month left for RBI phase 1. So I subscribed to EduTap course and I started preparing for that.
So how did you come to know, like, because you told me that you were into UPSC preparation, you always wanted to do that. What made you take RBI Grade B as an option?
Yes, like after it is clear that I would not get into the UPSC prelims, so I started thinking that I will give another exam. So RBI also gives the same challenges, like it is also highly prestigious job. So I thought that I will give this exam. So I started preparing for that.
Okay, so you were aware about this before as well?
No. I'm aware. Like I got to know it after UPSC prelims. So,
okay.
And at that time only notification was out.
Okay.
So everyone was talking about it.
Acha.
Yeah.
So here you can see that Mr. Raghuram gave his prelims in 2018 only, the month of June. That is prelims of UPSC. And then after he completed his preliminary examination, he had an understanding that he did not perform well. So he thought of an alternative, and as he himself told that he thought RBI Grade B can be a good alternative for him. So first of all, let me just address this part here, Raghuram, that mostly for students who are preparing for civil services, the orientation is a bit different.
Yes.
But when it comes to RBI Grade B, though there are overlaps, the orientation differs a lot.
Yes.
So how did you prepare yourself for that?
Like for UPSC preparation helps in English and economic and social issues. So most of the preparation for my ESI and English was completed there only. And finance and management, for finance and management I prepared mostly from EduTap. And for general awareness section, I prepared from other sources which I will be discussing in detail.
Okay, so we'll do one thing, we'll go to the detailed strategy and then we'll take out pointers from whatever you're telling, right? So first of all, let us start with the phase 1 preparation. So let us specifically take general awareness section. And why this section? Because as I told you before, that when you're preparing for UPSC, the orientation that you have for current affairs is very different. But when you talk about RBI Grade B, the current affairs that come in phase 1 and phase 2, they are a little bit different, okay? The matter is the same, the questions are different. So we will get to know about your side. Like, how did you prepare for general awareness?
We all know that general awareness consists of 80 questions, and mostly the questions are related to current affairs. And it is the most scoring section in phase 1 as well as the least time taking section. So I have studied current affairs mostly from Bankers Adda monthly compilations, and I watched study IQ videos, and GK Today daily quiz I have completed. So most of the questions will be from these 3 only, and I have also watched EduTap fast track series. Those were also very helpful. And then I took Hollywood mock tests. I finished those 800 questions. There were 10 tests and 80 questions in each. So 800 questions I solved, and I kept on revising these sources. So for phase 1, revision is the most important, and practicing, because time management is very important. So 80 questions could be completed in under 10 minutes. So practicing is more important in phase general awareness. So Raghuram, can we just split this further? Like you told me the sources. Let me just put a point here that you had how many days to prepare for your prelims, because you said that you started only in month of July, and the RBI Grade B prelims examination was on August 16th. So I guess you hardly had around 1 month with you. So how did you prepare for GA in this 1 month? Like for the first 15 days I have prepared for finance and management specifically, and after that I have prepared for general awareness only, because quantitative aptitude and reasoning I did not prepare very well. I had a decent foundation in that. So only in the later 15 days I had prepared general awareness only from these sources, and I have revised it very much.
Can you tell me the months that you covered?
Last 3 months before prelims.
Okay, so you covered the last 3 months current affairs before prelims. Okay, so he mentioned about the sources, he mentioned about the duration, that is the last 3 months he covered very specifically. So as far as I can understand, the more amount of questions you solve, I think that was an advantage for you. You took so many questions.
And revision.
And revision. So the 2 words according to him were solving so many MCQs based on current affairs. The second thing that he did was revision, revising them again and again. And one very important point that he mentioned is it is a scoring section, so 80 questions can be completed under 10 to 15 minutes in your examination. So that's again going to give you an edge. So Raghuram, let us talk about the other sections. Like you have reasoning, you have English, you have maths. So can you just throw light, how did you prepare?
For English, I have been reading newspaper for one and a half years. So I did not prepare specifically, and I solved Hollywood mocks. Those were very helpful. And quantitative aptitude and logical reasoning also, I prepared from Hollywood mock test. I did not prepare, I practiced it more and more. And reasoning concepts, some of them are unknown to me. I watched YouTube videos of there is one channel feel free to learn.
Acha, feel free to learn.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was very helpful.
Okay.
Yes.
So, if I'm not wrong, your foundation has already been there because you were already preparing for your engineering examinations,
Yes.
right? So that's why English, quants, and to a certain
Reasoning.
extent reasoning you had covered there.
Yes.
But you would recommend that practice is important?
Yes, obviously, because practice only makes one perfect.
Correct.
Yes. So if you solve more and more questions, you will be becoming better and better, and you can solve them in less number of time. And time management is most important in phase 1 exam. I did not get time to read all the questions in reasoning and quantitative aptitude,
Okay.
but I have solved them. Like if you can score well in general awareness, if you can clear like sectional cutoff in other section, it would be enough.
Okay, so he's trying to say that since general awareness is an easy and scoring section basically, so what you can do is you can just try and clear the cutoffs of the other sections and maximize your score in general awareness section. Right? Okay, so Raghuram, basically now talking about those who do not have a foundation like you already had. So do you have any tips for them, like when it comes to quants, reasoning and English?
There are many websites and applications available, and like GradeUp and Bankasada.
Okay.
There are many questions available, and one can also take a standard textbook and prepare from there.
Okay, any book that you would like to mention?
I didn't know about many books.
Okay, fine.
So
No.
yeah.
Okay.
So practicing and solving them within the time frame is more important.
Okay, so from what I could infer, there are two important things that Raghuram basically that worked for him. One is solving a lot of MCQs and then revising them again. So I think these are the two pillars of strength as far as I can judge from whatever he's telling about his journey. Am I right, Raghuram?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we'll do one thing, we'll move forward, and that's about phase 1. Anything you would like to add on? Any other point that comes to your mind that the students can make the most out of it?
Yeah, one must allocate, like one must think of allocating time limit for every section before the exam only.
Okay.
Like I have thought that I will devote maximum of 10 minutes to general awareness section.
Okay.
And 20 minutes to English.
Okay.
And 40 minutes each to quantitative aptitude and reasoning.
Okay.
So like if you are crossing the time limit, you should stop there and go to another section.
Okay.
And start solving that.
Okay.
Because time is the most important constraint in the phase 1.
Okay. Okay, so this is very well said that when you're going to the examination hall, you need to have a framework in mind. Like for each section, how much time do we need to devote? Okay, and as rightly said, if you cross that time, go to the next section because we need to clear the sectional cutoff here also. That is also very important. And so that's very beautifully said. The time that he devoted also was mentioned by Mr. Raghuram. Right? So Raghu, let's move on to the phase 2 preparation. So let's break it down. We will take from economic and social issues. Yeah, can you start? How did you prepare for this section?
Mostly economic and social issues questions are from like current affairs and government schemes, and I have prepared both of them for UPSC prelims.
Okay.
That was came in handy here. So and government schemes I mainly prepared from IAS Parliament.
Okay.
And Vision IAS monthly current affairs prepared from. Monthly current affairs I have prepared from Vision IAS. Okay. And budget and economic survey are the most important ones, and minimum of 3 to 4 questions will be coming from there. Okay. So these all are very helpful for ESI. Okay. And this time paper was a bit unconventional. Correct. And most of the questions are from old schemes.
Yes, exactly.
But if we don't know them, like many others would not be knowing. Correct. So one has to take some calculated risks and guess the options. Okay. So that would be helping in scoring more in ESI.
Okay, so this is a very valid point, in fact, that was brought out during this conversation, that when you see that the questions are unconventional, like as he pointed out, there were questions from old schemes, okay? So that's going to be the case for everyone out there. So as he told, if you can take a calculated risk, okay, wherein you are a little bit sure, 80% you are, aware about the answer, you can still go for it, okay? So that can give you an edge when it comes to your marks marks in economic and social issues. So am I right,
Yes,
Raghu?
yes.
Right. So Raghu, can you just break it down further? Like now when you talk about UPSC and RBI, yes, economic and social issues has a lot of overlap.
Yes.
But do you think it is obviously not exactly the same?
Not exactly.
So how did you fine tune yourself regarding the orientation? Like what kind of questions are asked?
Previous question papers, I have mostly referred to previous question papers and syllabus. What we should read should be mostly inferred from the syllabus and old questions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very valid point. Yes.
Yeah. And from mock test also we can infer what to be read and what not, what should be left.
Great. So there is one very important thing that Raghu has mentioned, that firstly, if you are obviously preparing for some other examination, you need to get fine-tuned to the type of examination that you're giving, the kind of questions that are expected. So as he rightly pointed out, that you can practice mocks, so you'll get to know what kind of questions are there. Secondly, you need to be aware about the previous year questions. So that plays a very important role. I think that's what you did.
Yes.
To understand.
Yes.
Okay, and how did you prepare for static part? Was there any preparation from your end?
Yeah, I prepared a static part for economy in UPSC, and for that I have used economy by Shankar Ganesh.
Okay.
It is I think as far as it is the most simple, and
It is in a simple language.
Simple and easy to understand, especially for non-finance background student.
Okay.
And after that I referred to Ramesh Singh.
Okay.
I have completed reading that.
Okay.
So and apart from that, mostly current affairs will be there, and social issues. For social issues, I refer to IGNOU material.
Okay, no material. Yeah. So basically, as we can see that Raghuram has a background of UPSC, so his sources might be different from from those students who are preparing only for RBI Grade B. So that's one thing that you need to note. And I'm just putting a word of caution here that his strategy might not be replicated exactly by all. It is just the pointers that which is useful, you can take them. And as I told you, the background matters. Like he has been preparing for civil service, so obviously his sources or his bucket of sources would be different, right? Okay, so Raghuram, now just a word from yourself. Like if a person is not from UPSC background, yes, how do you guide him or her for ESI?
Yes, like one has to understand the subject first. So for that one has to pick some standard textbook and complete it, and then revise it. So for me it is economy by Shankar Ganesh, and it will work for most of them, I think. So after that we can go for current affairs. Current affairs are available everywhere, so we can refer that.
Okay, and let me just ask you one more point here, that the schemes that were asked were old schemes, yes, right? So as you told, did you take a calculated risk or you knew the schemes?
Yes, no, I didn't know all the schemes, but I took some calculated risk and guessed the options. I could eliminate some of the options, so I took risks by guessing one among the others.
Can you give me a little example, if you remember? Not the exact scheme, but any trick that is there, or like you are talking about calculated risk.
Yes.
So what goes into your mind when you solve a question? Anything, one or two pointers if you can. It's not easy to remember, but any trick or something, do you eliminate using something? Because we are talking about calculated risk, right? So when you see a question, how do you eliminate? Any important pointer?
It depends on the question. Like,
okay.
For different questions, like different strategy. Like while preparing for UPSC prelims, I learned to use this skill.
Okay.
So that came in handy here.
Okay, so here what basically Raghuram is trying to put forth is, sometimes in spite of you not knowing the answer, you can still go with certain amount of understanding. You can eliminate options and then you can try to answer that. As he told that if it is tough for you, it is going to be for others as well, right? So we can go for a little amount of calculated risk, right? So let's move forward, talk about the next paper, finance and management. So again, now here you need to understand that he was from civil service background, so obviously he was not in touch into core finance or management part. So let's see how did he prepare. So Raghu, how was your journey regarding finance and management?
Like coming to management part, we had a subject in graduation called management science and productivity, and like some of the questions are from I could recollect from that subject.
Okay.
And remaining mostly finance and most of the management part I referred to EduTap's course.
Okay.
And they provided in a simple and concise way. And I thank them for that.
Okay, thank you.
Uh,
Okay, so could you please let me know how did you prepare? Like, okay, you referred EduTap for FM,
Yes.
Finance and Management. Now you just had 1 month with you before your
Yes,
prelims exam.
yes.
So how did you devote time for FM?
I started my preparation with finance and management course.
Okay.
Like I thought I had to complete it in 15 days. So I started preparing and I finished it in 15 days. And I watched their videos and after that their worksheet and mock tests were very helpful in for retention.
Okay.
Retention is most important because time is not a factor in phase 2.
Great. Yes.
So,
Exactly.
So if we learn the concepts, it will be very useful, and what we read, we have to retain.
Okay.
For that, solving mock tests is very helpful, and more revisions are also important.
So a lot of points, very valid and useful points we can infer from what we have just heard from Mr. Raghu. So he basically said that your basic concepts need to be clear. And after that, the most important thing that you need to look for is retention. Okay, so once if you read and you're not able to retain that particular information, it's not going to be helpful for you, right? And so, Raghu, one more thing, like finance, obviously it is not in the league of everyone, right?
Yes.
Usually the terms that are used and everything. So how do you think you became comfortable with those terms and everything, like, you know?
Like videos of EduTap were very helpful in understanding basic terms, and some of the terms were known to me because like I prepared it for UPSC prelim services.
Okay. So if I would ask you that in how many days were you able to cover FM, what would be that number, approximate number?
For first time I completed in 15 days, and after phase 1 I revised it and again revised it.
Okay.
And I want to also point out that if you are not going to revise it, first don't read it in the first instant, because you are not going to retain it.
Okay.
For sure. Mostly you are not going to retain it. So revising is more important for phase 2.
So Raghu has been stressing throughout about the power of revision and how this actually worked out for him. Like he completed FM in 15 days, but he made sure that he's revising it again and again. So you can say that the preparation was ineffective, like at least for a month you were in touch with FM,
Yes.
right? And the second thing that he keeps pointing out, or we can infer, is about the power of mock test as well. He solved a lot of questions and that helped him retain, revise again and again, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Raghu, any thing apart from whatever we have discussed, you want to throw light on finance and management? Anything you want to give a pointer to the students? Nothing apart from it. So you have, whatever was your strategy, you have covered it, right? Okay. So let's move on to the third section, that is English. So you can just start out with the general. First, let us address essay writing part.
Yes.
So did you take any practice for it?
No, I didn't practice for English specifically, and most of the preparation for ESA will be very useful in writing essay.
Okay.
And for writing essay, reading newspaper is the most important one. I have been reading it for past 1.5 years, so it is very helpful. So like I did not write essays in particular for this exam, but I used to write some questions for UPSC preparation.
Okay.
That was helpful.
Okay, so basically we can see that since he was into UPSC preparation, so he had the habit of writing for mains answer writing. So that in a way was a practice for him for English, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so did you like before the exam, did you at least refer to the topics, or how did you go about it?
If we can prepare at least 20 to 30 topics which are recently in news, at least 2 to 3 will come in the exam.
Great. Okay.
That has been the case from past 3 to 4 years. So we had to prepare a list of 20 to 30 topics, and we had to check whether we can write we can write essay in 300 words about this topic or not. If not, we can read some points about the topic and we can revise it.
So you're saying we can have the list of topics and a little bit of fodder material under each, right? For each. Okay, so one more point out here, like what about the typing speed? Since you're not going to write here, you're going to type here. So that is going to be a concern for at least 70 to 80% of the people appearing for the exam. So did you do anything in that regard?
Like I have some experience in typing, so it was not a matter of concern.
Okay, but what about those do you give any specific advice for those who actually struggle with typing?
Yeah, we have to practice, because if you know if you know points about the topic, and if you are unable to type it, that will be a big drawback. So one has to prepare well before the exam only.
Okay, so basically you already were comfortable with typing.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to the other sections. Okay, so regarding essay writing, you were already into UPSC preparation,
Yes.
so you had that pointers in mind and all those things. What
Yes.
about the other categories, like you have reading comprehension, you have presse, you have sometimes letter writing, right?
Yes.
So how do you go about it?
Like I practiced 2 topics from each, and that is precise and this comprehension. I practiced 2 from each by searching on the internet, and EduTap also provided one, I think.
Yes.
So I practiced from it, and it was helpful, because that is the first time I'm writing precise.
Okay.
So they provided how to write precise. So I followed their guidelines, and
so basically you became aware about the rules, and
Yes.
then you
I
just
applied
did
it
2
in the
practice,
exam, yes.
and then you were ready for it.
yes.
Okay, so anything else you would like to tell the students regarding your English paper or preparation? Any other pointer?
Like one has to inculcate this habit of reading newspaper. That would be very helpful. Like unknowingly, it will be helping very much. So it will be better. It helps very much in the preparation.
Okay, so this is one advice that Raghu would like to give to all the aspirants who are listening to him right now. And Raghu, let's move forward. So we are done with this phase 2, right?
Yes.
So let's move to the third phase, that is the interview stage. So let me just repeat the interview marks of Mr. Raghu. So he has scored 36 out of 50. It's a pretty good score. So tell me, Raghu, that was the first time, obviously it is his first attempt, as I told you guys in the beginning itself, the first time he is facing the panel members. So were you nervous in the initial?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously you should be.
Yes.
Okay, and then tell us about the interview process. Like, firstly, what were the kind of questions you were asked?
Most of the questions will be from current affairs only. And if you are not working, or if you are applying for the first time, the questions will be asked. Questions asked are mostly in basic in nature.
Okay.
So, if you are working, most of the questions will be from your background,
Okay.
from your job. So, for me, I have prepared, like, after phase 2 results, there will be enough time for preparation for the interview. So I started reading at least 2 newspapers
Okay.
daily, and I used to prepare notes from that.
Okay.
I used to take a topic and write down the positive views and negative views,
Okay.
and like that I used to write, and I used to revise it.
Okay, so basically you're talking about opinion forming, right?
Yeah,
You
yes.
need to have an opinion about
Yes.
whatever is going on.
Yes.
So that's what you were doing.
Even if it is in even if it is different from the opinion of others.
Great, yes.
Yes.
So the point here is, even if you're not going with the crowd, you have a different opinion on certain topics, you need to justify that. And for that, you need to be aware of the topic first of all, and then you can prepare pointers as Raghu did. So Raghu, let us just break this down. Can you please let us know, first of all, you told you were asked questions from current affairs.
Yes.
And did they ask you why, did you mention that you were preparing for civil services?
Yes. They asked me what have you been doing for past 1 year. I said I am preparing for civil services. So
Okay. What was the further questioning that they did after hearing that you're preparing for civil
they did
service?
not ask me about that, and chairman immediately asked, did you have you read RBI Act?
Okay.
So he proceeded with the interview.
Okay, so in Raghu's case, there were not much of a drilling that was done, like, why civil service first and now RBI Grade B. Usually that might not be the case with other candidates. So he, for him, they immediately shifted on to the other topic about RBI, but that cannot be the case always. So we need to be cautious about, if we are taking an examination first, like civil service, and then moving to RBI Grade B, we need to have a justification of all those decisions that we have taken. We need to stand by it. Okay, so next they grilled you on what other questions after current affairs, apart from current affairs? Background.
Yes.
Example, any questions?
Like my father is a teacher.
Okay.
And so like the lady member asked me whether the education system needed a reorientation.
Okay.
And what kind of changes do you suggest? And why do you think the changes should be made?
Okay.
So those kind of questions were asked.
Okay. So they pull questions from your background.
Yes.
So basically the biodata form that you fill is like a questionnaire for you. They take questions from that.
Yes.
Did you were you asked questions from hobbies? Did you mention something there?
Yes, I mentioned, but they did not ask any question from that.
Okay, so you weren't asked about that.
Yes.
Okay, so any other question that you remember apart from current affairs, apart from your profile, and apart from other things?
No,
like
they did not ask
okay.
anything.
How many minutes did your interview last
15
for?
minutes.
15 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. So were you able to gauge, like after your interview was over, whether how did you perform? Any idea you had?
No, I had mixed feelings. Like
Okay.
some of the questions I answered very well, and some I could not answer.
Okay.
And for one question I answered it wrongly.
Acha, okay.
So I didn't know how I performed.
Okay.
But I
got through.
yes.
Okay, so could you please let us know that for questions that you weren't able to answer, how did you put forth? How did you tell them?
No, like I directly told them, sir, I don't know, like I didn't remember now. So they said, no, okay, no problem. So they proceeded with the
Next
other question. Yes.
Okay, so it was quite simple.
Yes.
Not much of complications.
Bluffing would be very, like, if you bluff, you will be caught easily.
Great. So I think being straightforward, at least in some cases where you have a right justification, I think that's very important. You need to be yourself. That's what Raghu is trying to say. So if you don't know the answer for a question, you need to directly say that I'm sorry, I'm not aware about that, right? And so Raghu, apart from that, you told me the preparation for interview. You told that you were preparing notes, you were preparing opinions, positives, negatives.
Yes.
Anything else that you did for your preparation?
And I revised the basic books because they will be asking questions from, like, they will be asking basic questions about the current affairs.
Okay.
So we had to relate current affairs with the basics.
Okay, great.
So relating them would be helpful.
Okay.
So
You remember any question regarding basic that was asked to you? Any basic concept?
like what is prompt corrective action?
Okay, they asked about PCA.
Yes.
So there again, your understanding of the concept will help.
Yes.
Okay.
Because that has been in news most of the time.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can see that when you're preparing for ESI, you're preparing for FM, you're unknowingly also preparing for interview because they test you on your basics as well, right? And again, linking with the current affairs also see. So Raghu, apart from that, you have any other pointers you would like to give to the students?
Yes. For phase 1 and phase 2, while revising, like when I was revising for the third time or fourth time, I used to write short notes. Like in one point, I used to write.
Okay.
With like most of those pointers will be the things which I'm frequently forgetting.
Okay.
And I used to revise it one day before the exam. Like if you have 10 pages of notes, you can revise it 3 to 4 times one day before the exam.
Okay.
And so that way you can remember most of the things.
Okay. So you're talking about very crisp notes,
Yes.
very short pointers.
And that is very specific to you only.
Okay, so this is a very important thing that he has mentioned, that when you talk about notes, so it would depend or it would be based on what you are not comfortable in. So that's what he's pointing it out. Like for example, if there are 2 to 3 concepts you're not comfortable, you keep forgetting, make short pointers, revise it 10 to 12 times, you will be able to remember it eventually. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so Raghu, anything else apart from this? We have discussed your phase 1 strategy, we have seen phase 2 interview overall. So it's been a very sudden journey, I would say, wherein he was up to his UPSC preparation. Suddenly he changed track and he's thought to give a chance regarding RBI Grade B. So Raghu, finally I would just like to know from you, for all those people who are hesitant towards RBI Grade B, because obviously you are into preparation for 2 to 3 years, maybe for civil service, or you're doing something else. It's not very easy to come to this particular platform. So how do you think, what would you say to those people?
Can you please repeat that?
Like other people, they are frightened to immediately shift to RBI Grade B. They're not very receptive,
Yes.
right? Because you also were preparing for civil service.
Yes.
Then immediately you got this option. You took it, but everyone will not.
Yes, yes.
So what is the advice? Like what made you take it so that others can also learn from it?
Whatever exam we are going to write, we have to devote completely ourselves to that. Like I used to spend at least 10 to 12 hours per day while preparing for this RBI. So like we had to pay utmost concentration to the exam, and you had to you know how to read.
Correct.
So what are the topics to be read, what are the topics to be left out. So knowing that would be very helpful.
Okay. So any closing remarks or anything out of your experience in life or something you want to share at the end, the last few lines of yours where you want to tell students something?
I think luck also plays a role.
Okay.
So
fair enough. Okay.
But we have to work hard and minimize its role.
Okay, so basically out of all those pointers that we have had, the first thing I would like to highlight is revision, which Raghu has been mentioning it throughout. Practice, retention, short notes. I think these are some of the highlights of whatever he told, and at the end, as he told, luck plays a role, but obviously you need to work hard for it, right? So Raghu, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure to have you here, and I really wish you all the best for your future. Thank you so much. Thank you, friends.